Back in the shop with I Can Fix It. Alright, so we have a field here that goes to a Super 7 edger. This one's pretty rough. Somebody had decided to put caulk on all these wires and the brush holder, hold the brushes together with caulk because this fell apart because it got hot. There was a lot of caulk inside this edger. We've cleaned it all out, but today what I want to talk about is sometimes an easy repair that will help, because evidently this thing was getting overheated, and we see here our main wire coming out. We've got it put together here, spliced onto, and then again spliced onto. So we got two splices in this. Nothing to lose on this one, because if this doesn't work, we'll put a new one in. But I like to replace these. And it's not as hard as it looks. Some of them are really hard to get out because they're kind of glued in, but some of them come out real easy. So basically you're going to start by, you have these little sleeves in here, right? So you tap them down. I try not to use a screwdriver. Screwdrivers will kind of tear them up on the edges. But once you get it to slide down just a little bit, we'll get all of them to move. I usually use just an Allen socket, long reach, because it does have a flat side you can put up against here. Alright, we've got them all started. So now what we'll have to do is set them on something. You can set them back just kind of cocked in here. Tap them out. I'm going to try to keep this in the frame. The camera's really close to where I'm working, so we'll see. Let's zoom out. These things are different in armatures, all armatures. Older ones are, I don't know, like a real thick, almost like a masonite type material. Some of the newer ones are plastic, I would say, fiberboard like these. But that's all they are. And these will go back in, so it doesn't damage them. And what that does is gives you room for these windings to move around. And I like to take maybe underneath here, just give it a little bit of, loosened up a little bit so it has some movement. You don't want to damage them, but you'll hear it. They kind of crack and pop. Kind of gets them a little bit loose, so they'll have some room to move. And the main one you're working with is the one we're going to repair, so we'll flip that over and kind of loosen that up there too on the bottom side. And like I said, sometimes this will fix a problem and is easy. Sometimes it doesn't, but if you've got one you want to try, because you're not gonna, you got nothing to lose, you're gonna put a new field in it anyway, then go ahead and give it a try. See what happens. You've got this paper in here you can separate. You can kind of see inside, because then you can see what you're working with. It's pretty hard to see in there really, but at least on the camera. But basically you've got your wire runs down through there. See where both these come in, and they go down through there, and this wire comes in behind them. So if you can get it to move a little bit, that's going to show you which wire. If I zoom in here, if you can push up and down on this wire, trying to slide it in here, see what we got. now we know which wire it is. All right, so we'll clip this here. Now we just have that wire sticking out. We don't need the rest. You see we got movement here. So we're going to push that through and pull on the other end that moves. And at that point, you get it started a little bit, go ahead and get something kind of pry on it easy. And grab your needle nose pliers. Those aren't very good needle nose pliers. We'll grab these. You should be able to pull that on through. Without damaging anything. And here's your wire. So, I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to get my other set of tools to show you how we're going to fix this. Okay, so got a piece of wire. We're going to use the same size wire they had on here. Works best. And then what we're going to do is grab a ferrule connector and we'll take that ferrule connector. It basically looks like this. It's a little metal, pretty much what's right there. So we can clip this off. Got our wire stripped back. Zoom in and see if I can keep this in frame. We'll put our ferrule connector on here. Strip it back a little more. They make different lengths of those. It doesn't really matter as long as you can get it to catch. And you go up one size. So we will put that in our crimper. Our ferrule connector's in there. We're going to come into this side with our wire. It's hard to do with one hand. Feed. Yeah, let's do something different for the video. So we're going to feed this wire in here. And push this inside there as well. I want it to go all the way till it touches this wire. So push that all the way in till it touches. Make sure this wire is all the way in. And then feed this back through your ferrule connector crimper. Put that up here, make sure everything's good and snug. Crimp it down. All right, there you go. Pull on it, that's tight. Now, you don't have to, but I like to put a piece of heat shrink tubing over that. So I'm gonna pause the video and grab a piece. All right, cut a little piece, slide it down, heat it up. All right, now, not really concerned about the length of our wire. You see I got plenty of wire here because we can cut that off later when we get it up where it needs to go. Now we're going to feed this back through where it came from. Sometimes it's a little tight to get that wire in there. So you can grab some WD-40. I use this for a lot of stuff if I need lubricant to slide wires through. It works pretty good. And then you may need to work the other side to loosen up I'm gonna take, if you'll notice down in there, you probably can't see it. There is a little, almost like a paper sleeve that mimicked heat shrink. They didn't have heat shrink probably when they made these. So I'm gonna grab a little pick and push in there and pull that out. I'm gonna go blow it out with the compressor. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I got a pick about the size of this wire that's going through, and kind of pushed through slightly, and it pushed out this little piece of papery looking stuff, and then blew that out with the compressor. So now we're going to put our wire in and just push that in. Go ahead and pull it up the other side. And as this comes around, you don't want to pull that apart, so go ahead and push on this while you pull the other end through. All right, so we're back in where we go. We got plenty of wire up here. And now it's just a matter of putting these back. And you can see which way they go. This faces the end of the inside. This is the dirty part, it goes out by the field. So you start these at an angle. I always just use this little soft hammer made out of rawhide. Just get each one started, because what it does, it puts pressure back on that, so on these windings. Get them started. Some of them can be tight when you do this, especially the one we worked on. So that one's got that piece of paper we pulled loose. So make sure we get that under. All right. And the last one. And you can tell where these go when you take them out. You'll see there's actually, you'll notice in here, there's a little bit of a lip on each side of this metal, the metal here, and it sits inside that. So now once you've done that, you can just tap these down flush. And if it tears them up a little bit on the edge, that's fine. They're just holding that in place. Grab your other tool and run them down flush to the edge. All right, there you go. Now we've got one solid brand new wire coming out of this field, ready to go. We're going to replace this end. And we'll be ready to put this back in and see how it works. Just a little something extra we do in the shop that I can fix it. Try to save customer money, and sometimes it works, sometimes it just needs a new field, but we'll try either way. So a little piece of what you get when you bring stuff to our shop. We go the extra mile. Hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to our channel, hit like, tell your friends about us. Until next time, I can fix it.